Well then, it's been a fair bit. You know, not a massive amount of time. You know, a fucking year. Didn't have a whole lot to laugh at last year though, did we? It all just kind of went tits up from the start really, didn't it? Like, let's have a look. Started off like any other year, you know, just casual. World War fucking 3. And if that wasn't enough to fill you up, oh boy, it's gonna get worse for you. The entire world's population was placed on house arrest. Unless you were literally anywhere that wasn't being governed by someone who looked like this. Honestly, they could probably sum up the entire year. Most of the world's leadership just turned into fucking Stevie Wonder. Could talk perfectly fine, but just couldn't fucking see. But anyway, I'll digress on this particular topic, for now at least. As all 6 of you watching know, or at least probably know, last year was it was a bit of a tough one. Cheers, Captain Obvious. It was very difficult, and I wasn't feeling up to par most of the time. That, and in my most recent video before this one, my microphone was... It had a few problems, mainly in that you could hear my mouth watering like a pedo in a park. I tried for ages and ages to fix it, but it just wasn't having it. And then obviously me in that state just, couldn't be arsed. I did invest, into a new microphone. And as you can probably still hear, it's not perfect, but it'll be fixed one day. For now, it'll do the job. But yeah, pulled my head out my arse, got myself a job, and now here I am, blessing all of you. For how long? We'll have to wait and see. But seeing as I've got some of you here, let's have a chat about probably the most relevant thing in the world right now. Something I think we've all got a shared love for. Couldn't say that one with a fucking straight face. Of course, I'm on about politics. I just heard like 90% of you click off, but trust me, just trust me on this one. Anyone considered a political leader from the start of 2020 to the start of 2021, they've been meme material somehow. And I don't say that with any, like, exclusivity. Like, it's been like that for decades. You could go on for absolutely hours, but I want to talk about recent politics. Like, there's quite clearly a lot of attention on it now, but still probably not enough. Like, you've got us in the UK, like, we consciously chose to have this man in charge. I'd be lying if I said I understood the thought process behind it, but we move. Like, you just have to remember it could always be worse. You could have a what's-it who escaped out of his fucking bag chucking explosives at the Iranian military. Again, the thought process fucking escapes me. But like in terms of justification, there just is none. I suppose you have to give this what's-it some credit though. Like there were just certain issues that he managed to fix, you know what I mean? Like police brutality. Oh fucking hell. Okay, well I guess he handled the COVID crisis kind of well. Oh boy. Yeah, it just doesn't get any better for this man. Eventually, of course, his failure caught up to him, and the public screamed to have this what's-it placed back into his bag. Whereupon his response was a prompt, suck your entire grandmother. Oh, and his boys invaded the Capitol building. Yeah, I think I've seen this somewhere. Thankfully though, he was placed back into his bag, and the country was immediately taken over by one of the original founding fucking fathers. But of course, me being a Brit, I'm obviously not in any position to take the piss out of America, so I'm gonna have to stop before I get a fucking petrol bomb through my window. We're simple men, we fight only with the cutlass. Speaking of Britain, we're not innocent either. Like, if we're going to ignore the fact that we're currently being led by someone who still gets his nappy changed by his wife, she could at least give him a decent fucking trim, come on. We can kind of veer off politics, as I know it's a depressing subject, and we can just talk about what we've been driven to. Most of you will have seen the the 4 lads in jeans meme. We've been driven to so much boredom that we're laughing at 4 lads on a night out. If that wasn't enough, fucking sea shanties. I went out for a drive the other day and I got blitzed by the fucking Black Pearl. Like, come on lads, we're the land of the shank. You don't need to dress up as pirates to use fucking knives and swords. It's a fucking lifestyle, mate. Tea, crumpets and shanks. It's the British fucking way. And of course you can add a spliff and an entire bottle of whiskey if you're feeling that little bit saucy. Honestly, we probably are among the most laughable countries out there. Still though, at least we don't have gun violence, haha right? It's just fucking relentless. Of course, a lot's happened this year, which obviously I haven't talked about in this video because there's just certain things you don't laugh about, which ultimately is the point of these videos. The ability to take what's happened with a grain of salt. It's in very short supply, and understandably so, but personally it's a lot easier to laugh at the stuff you can change rather than the stuff you can't, at least where the world's concerned. Like, obviously, given what's happened, there's been a lot of changes in place. Like, take COVID, for example. Obviously, it came about in just a simple market in Wuhan. I can only imagine the hardships that they're going through. Oh, maybe not? Keep in mind, this is ground zero. What the actual fuck are the rest of us up to? If nothing else, it's a saving grace. Like, the place it started has recovered, so I suppose the rest of us can. But, like, you know, what can save the economy nowadays? I mean, us over here in Britain, again, we were renowned for having a very strong economy. And even after all these lockdowns, even after all these measures, it really, really shone through in the shape of school meals. Obviously, a lot of families were suffering. They were struggling through COVID, and a lot of them couldn't feed their children. Calls obviously started going round like they need to be fed, and of course they do. And that is where our government so generously and graciously stepped in with this. I fucking can't. What the fuck are these Donnies on? A bit of context behind it for those of you who don't know as well. This is apparently £30 worth of food. I've had £30 get me more in a fucking corner shop. Take £30 a fucking Aldi and you feed a family of 4 for a week. To my knowledge, I think it was a private company which had sorted out the food arrangements. I'm not entirely sure which company, but judging from that stinginess, there's only one man responsible. I'm sure I haven't even scratched the surface of this past year, but there's only so much shit you can chat in one night. I've plenty of other topics in mind, but if a part 2 of this is wanted, then, of course, I will simply have to oblige. But I do hope you're having a glorious day or night wherever you are. It's been fun, boys. See you in another year's time. Bye bye.